India is on the move, a nation accelerating towards global economic dominance. With a dynamic mix of innovation, resilience and ambition, the Indian economy is rewriting the playbook, capturing global attention as it races toward a brighter future. And this pivotal moment was brought into sharp focus at the recently concluded 10th edition of the Times Network India Economic Conclave held in New Delhi. For a decade, the India Economic Conclave has been the torchbearer of the nation's economic narrative, tackling the most pressing issues and driving conversations that shape policy and progress. This year was no exception. Under the compelling theme, Fast Track to Top 3, the conclave ignited discussions on India's aspirations to cement its place among the world's top 3 economies. Top editorial voices, visionaries, policymakers and industry leaders convened to exchange insights, strategies and solutions to accelerate India's growth story. India is on the move, and the India Economic Conclave remains at the heart of the conversation, shaping the road ahead. In this episode, Prozeal Green Energy joins in for an interesting conversation around renewable energy and India's future in the next green revolution.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's tell you a little bit about Prozeal. It's a company that is helping corporates go green. In a way, it is the decarbonizing partner for many corporates. And as Madhav called you forward-thinking innovators, I'd like to tell our viewers that they entered into this renewable energy space in 2011, the time when we were just talking about it. So firstly, picking up from the last conversation, I want to ask both of you, what was the problem were you two trying to solve when you entered into this space when we were just talking about going green in 2011? Manan.
So when we started, actually there was, when we see the problem, all the industries were using thermal power. Okay, and there was a need of an hour that initially started with large MNCs and listed companies. But now we are seeing the wave that even a smaller MSMEs are finding it very important to convert themselves to green. Though that was a problem where we thought that there is a need for power in the country. When the country is growing, the power is the key element for any industry or commercial. And again, a green power which is a cheaper source and it is free from fossil fuel. That was the idea which made us start this venture.
Okay. Shobit, what was your motivation? One thing that perhaps made you feel that this is the thing that you would like to do?
Yeah, so I think, when we started, obviously, it was not the first idea that came to our mind, but in 2011, just graduated from the college and, with not much of an experience. When we started, obviously, sustainability is something that we were very keen at, thinking about, building a business from scratch. And in between, we found out that, in 2011, when we talk about, it was just the rooftop market, which is very, very niche market. I mean, very small market. People were not even able to understand that whether, if you put up a solar system or a renewable project, whether, I would be able to run my fans and lights or ACs in my house or not. So that was the kind of questions, were prevalent at that point of time. But I think, by 2014, when the new government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi started, it gave a boost to this particular sector. And I think that's how, we started to understand that the industries who are the major consumers of power, they are the one who are facing one big problem, which is like, they want somebody who can give them an end-to-end solution. And that is how, it all started. And from there, obviously, we kept on innovating the new business ideas, started thinking about, understanding the problems, what exactly they need, how do we, scale up this particular business. And, that's how the journey started, and we are here in 2024.
Interesting, because that is the need of the hour. Going green today is not just fashionable, it is the need of the hour because climate change is a reality. And we have some ambitious targets as well when it comes to renewable energy capacity. We've crossed about 200 odd gigawatts, but we aim to cross 500 gigawatts by 2030. That is important for India to also, reach the top 3 economies in the world, which is also the theme of our session today. So, can you tell us a little bit about India's capability of achieving this target by 2030? Are we on track?
So if you see, this industry is almost 14 years old, and we have just done 200 gigawatts so far. But I think next balance 300 gigawatt is doable in next 5 years, because the right policies are in place right now. At the same time, I say that first 14 years was just a trailer of this sector. The next thing, the big thing is still pending. And there are examples of countries like China who has done every year close to more than 60 gigawatt. And India, with the right policies and right execution partners and entire value chain like us, definitely this is quite doable, and definitely the government is quite pushing. At the same time, many industries, it's not a push strategy now, it's kind of a pull strategy. As I mentioned, smaller companies like MSMEs also now want to convert themselves to green.
That's very interesting, and we'll come to that as well in just a bit. But like you said, it's just the trailer picture abhi baki hai. So Shobhit, I want to ask you, in your opinion, are the current set of policies, the frameworks that we have, enough for us to be able to meet that target? As somebody who's a very important stakeholder in the industry, what is it that the government can really do to help us achieve that target in time?
See, I mean, if you look at, the 500 gigawatt target, I mean, I'll just, want to talk about, initially the situation what we were in 2014. So, when, Prime Minister Modi came in and with this vision of 500 gigawatt, in 2014, we were at, just 4 gigawatt of renewable installed capacity. And today we are at, crossed in October 24, we crossed 200 gigawatt, which is like, when you talk about fast track to top 3 for the biggest economy. At the same time, if you look at, India has become, the top 3, number 3, biggest renewable energy producer in the world after, China and US. So I think, as far as the policy is concerned, this is the, best example of, good policy decisions, and kind of, the obligations which are being put up to meet the to meet the sustainability goals and the net zero goals, which has, fast-tracked the development right from 4 gigawatt up to 200 gigawatt. And I think, the next big thing which we are going to see is that this year we are going to do 35 gigawatt, which is going to be the biggest year for renewable energy industry in India. And going forward with the kind of green energy open access policy which the government has brought up in June 2022 is where more than 12 states have already adopted this particular policy. And I think that this is like, a booster dose or kind of a vitamin which has been given by the government to ensure that by 2030 we meet this particular target. And we are very sure that, with, the support of the entire industry colleagues and government, we should be able to achieve it very easily.
Question for both of you. Now can we safely call you veterans in this particular industry? And for those who are now trying to enter into the renewable energy space, what is that one advice that you would like to give?
So I would say we are quite young, but at the same time quite old.
In the industry, that's
quite old in the industry. See, this sector, I would say it's a $25 billion industry year on year. For any new player, everybody will have a share of its pie for each segment of the sector, whether it's manufacturing, EPC, or the development of the projects. Idea is to have a quality plant and which will last for 25 years. So that was what the Prozeal was built on, that because you are the partners, as you rightly mentioned, we are partners for the large industries and they don't know about solar or wind. So this life of the plant is for 25 years and it should last for that. So that's the quality of the plant, and that's very much important for any new entrepreneur who is coming in this sector.
Okay. Advice and your goal. What next for the next decade?
So I have a very simple philosophy that I think for any businesses that, we want to build it from scratch. I think one thing is that, you need to be disciplined. I think whenever I talk to my team members, I say that, however talented you are, but I think the first quality that, you should have is discipline. So I think discipline and, you have dedication towards work, you should have direction, you should know, and final is, the decision making. I think as far as the decision making is concerned, for any entrepreneurs, it is an, loud and clear message that, you need to be a little aggressive. You need to know what is the right risk to be taken. I mean, obviously risks are never wrong or right, but again, you need to take your chances because, you cannot wait for things to happen. You need to make things happen. So I think, these are the messages. And as far as, for the next decade for Prozeal is concerned, I think definitely as a company, we currently have, 3% market share in the overall renewable space, which is what, we want to try and increase it. We want to increase. Currently, we have 18 states where we have 2 countries that we have presence. But I think, we want to make this as a global company. And we are set right to, we have this launch pad now.
Right.
And next 10 years, I think we should be across the country and any part of the world. I think, you'll hear our name as one of the top performers, as well, one of the largest renewable energy companies.
All right. We wish you good luck for that. Thank you very much, Manan, as well as Shobit, for joining us. Thank you.
When we talk about strategic leadership and the kind of role that India can play into the green energy revolution, if I can call it that, what strategies should India actually adopt to try and make the transition quicker, which is then going to sort of help India capitalize and climb up the ladder to the top 3 economies of the world, sooner than later?
So I think from the perspective that what are the major steps, I would just kind of bullet it out in terms of major important steps that we need to take. Number one is that if you have to fast track this entire transition to green, manufacturing of components which are needed, which we were dependent on imports, and with this Make in India initiative, we are on the right move. So from the perspective that whatever we need from renewable supply side, end to end, it's not only just, we talk about assembly, but, a fully backward integrated kind of manufacturing setup would be a very, very important role, which already we have initiated. And I think in next 3 to 4 years, we will see that it will take up the right shape. And not only we will consume internally, but also the kind of setup that we will have, we will be able to export, which is again going to be a boost to the economy. As we all know that globally, a lot of countries are resistant for Chinese imports these days. So I think India becomes another big market. So this is going to be very, very important. The other important factor is that if we have to accelerate this growth, we see that we have a massive target of 500 gigawatt. We have still 300 gigawatt to go. We would require skilled workforce, which is kind of missing right now, especially for this energy transition, which I believe that we will have to work upon, which many institute governments and private institutes are working on training the manpower for, especially on the renewable side, which will also, of course, solve the employment problem as well in a big way. And also, I am also looking at from the perspective that not only just solve the problem for renewable energy in India, but also from, we should become, an exporter, service exporter to many other countries. Especially you talk about in Europe after the Russia crisis, if you see that the demand for renewable energy has picked up significantly. And their targets, which they have not even achieved in last more than a decade, they want to achieve that in 1 year, for which obviously you need manpower. So that is another way that this can be taken up in the right direction, and we would see that we can definitely accelerate this growth.
Sulaja, you are at the helm of kinetic green energy, right? You guys are into EVs. Tell me all about the technology and the kind of innovations that you at Kinetic Green are working on to help make this transition quicker and faster.
Well, very excited about what we are doing. For all of you who don't know, Kinetic Green is the electric vehicle arm of Kinetic Group. You all know Kinetic for Kinetic Luna, Kinetic Honda, and many other products that we made over the years.
Who doesn't know Kinetic Honda? Yeah.
So Kinetic Green is one of the pioneering players in the India's electric vehicles space. Today, of course, it's very fashionable to be an EV company, but we were very, in 2012 is when I started this company. We launched our vehicles in 2015. It was that time not so fashionable. There was no market, there was no policy, there was no supply chain, there was no demand. There was just a passion and belief in a green future. And of course, the rest is history now. Clearly, we are on the right path. And we are embracing a wonderful trend, which is green. So I think first let me answer you by saying that why is electric vehicle technology important in this green transition, and then what we are doing towards it. As we all know, vehicular emissions contribute almost 25 to 30% of the pollution in the cities. That means when we are moving on our streets, we are inhaling the bad air, the emission, the carbon dioxide, and the other greenhouse gases, and that's affecting health of our citizens. So along with producing green energy, it is equally important that we clean the air in our cities. And we owe this to our future generations, that we leave a planet which is healthy and which is clean. If we move to electric vehicles, they produce zero emission. There are zero greenhouse emissions, and there is also zero noise. So we can reduce the noise and air or pollution greatly by adopting electric vehicles. It's like if you buy an electric car, it's like you're planting 100 trees, So that's the kind of impact it can have on the environment in our cities.
Shobhit, coming here, when it comes to EVs, like Sulaja's vision is that it should be affordable, it should reach the grassroots and the bottom of the pyramid. And once that conversion happens, there will be a faster transition. And of course, it's going to be more broad-based. But what are the challenges when it comes to investment, to funding? Because like she said, that, there is a lot of support because it's new technology, there's constant innovation, and there's constant improvisation, which happens pretty much almost on a daily basis.
So on the EV front, we ourselves are into, we have a small vertical which, does the infrastructure for EV charging where, it's on a pay-per-use model. The only challenge, what we have been seeing in this particular sector is that it's kind of like, a real estate business, that if you have the right spots, you will be able to get the chargings that is required basically to survive or maybe, at least make a business sense on this. On the other side, like for the public transport on the electricity side, on the electric charging side, if you see that, you'll not find that OEMs trying to spend on the charging station or, trying to spend. I think it's the government initiative which is to be taken up, wherein it should become a mandate to have one charger at every maybe 50 to 100 meters on the road, so that wherever there are doubts in the minds of people that why not to turn electric, is just the range anxiety, which I think most of the people, which is almost like kind of solved in two-wheelers, and also from the commercial vehicles. Now you will see that the charging technology also, going up to the extent that in a city like Surat, we have, tied up with corporation where we have installed like more than 100 chargers at the locations which have been given by the corporation. And we are able to see that, at certain good locations, where because of which the penetration of EVs in those concentrated pockets have picked up significantly. And each stations are able to generate, significant revenues, where we are able to see that even at a fast charging, which can charge at a, interval of, a single charge at 45 minutes from 0 to, full charge. We are able to, generate massive revenues where the paybacks are coming even less than, 3 years for a charging station. So the only thing which I feel that could accelerate this particular program is, I think government can play only, we don't need subsidies at this point of time, because the technology has evolved and it is like, so scalable and affordable. But the only thing is we need to have the right, if government can, tie up with, people who want to invest into charging infrastructure, provide them the right space. Because the biggest challenge is to get the right space where, you can park the cars, where you can charge the car, where it is safe. So that is the only support I feel, if they can, work with corporates and, the companies who are willing to invest, I think that can solve a much, much bigger problem. And this could, accelerate in a much faster way, which is already, we don't need to, explain now with the numbers, but it can still, ramp up in a big way.
So, Lasha, what is the hurdle?
Can I add something here to what he's saying? So I'm very happy to share. In fact, I'm in Delhi. I came this morning, and we had a meeting at the Ministry of Heavy Industries. And I'm very happy to share with all of you that I chair FICCI's Electric Vehicle National Task Force, and we have partnered with McKinsey, who have now created a complete blueprint of the top 40 cities where EVs are most likely to be, let's say, most popular, and 20 big highways around those cities. And we are doing, along with MHI and each state, there is a nodal cell being created, creating a very deep blueprint of these 40 cities and the highways around it, where a complete grid of charging infrastructure is being visualized, home charging, public charging, and highway charging. And the kind of work that's happening, I'm very bullish that in the next 3 to 4 years, we will have a wonderful charging infrastructure that will come up in our country. And I think, that's something which really will take us to the next stage of EVs.
Okay, here's to a more greener and cleaner India, and climbing up the ladders and fast-tracking to top 3, and it can't be done without the auto industry. Thank you, both of you, so much for sharing this vision with us. Thank you,
I can't believe time flew by so quickly, but thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.